Hello, everybody, and welcome to LLG Random But Real, the Stigma Breakers Collective. I'm actually going to say that one more time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to LLG's Random But Real, the Stigma Breaker Collective. I am saying it this time. I'm hyping myself up because, sometimes we have those kind of days. I don't know about y'all, but I had that kind of day. I might end up talking about it a little bit here. But I am Lisa Gilliam, or One Singing Lady. I have my girls, Danya Parker, who is the president and founder of the Rock for Life Foundation. I have my other girl, Ashley Lockley, who is the founder and president, I guess you're president too, of Mastermind Matters. It's weird when you do work with your friends, and I mean, they my friends. I don't call them by their titles. Those are my peeps. They do what they do. So I'm sure they'll tell you a little bit more about what they do as we go on. I want to just say welcome to everybody who is watching and who will be watching. We have a few people on now. Thank you for joining us. And that please, use the chat so that we can see your comments and be able to interact with you. That's the only downside about streaming, is that we don't really get to see your faces, but we can see y'all faces when you all follow, share, and subscribe to us on social media. And we'll give you that information before we leave too. Yes, we got to put in all these plugs. And then also, please note, the statements of the host and guests are our own opinions. They are ours, you all. We are not operating in counselors or therapists or, anything like that during this recording. So please, please, please seek professional therapy if necessary. And if you're not sure if it's necessary, ask us. And I promise you, we will tell you or refer you to somebody. We want to make sure that you are plugged in just like we're plugged in. Okay. So that's super, super important. So I am excited. Latasha said, good evening, ladies. Hi, Latasha. We love our returning listeners. We really do, or watchers, or you're a watcher and a listener. And so
happy birthday to Latasha, too.
Oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Latasha. Happy birthday to you. Now I need my about, $500 because you got serenaded. I'm just kidding. I'm surprised that came out too, because I've been sick for the last 3 days. But God is good. Just know that we have beautiful faces, even though you can't see us. I know that's right. Tracy, my girl Tracy's on. Good evening, Tracy. Y'all, God must have been in the Coke that I bought from Slurpee.
I was gonna say, I don't know what you had, but I need it right now. I really do. I don't know what it is.
Ooh, yeah. So yes, God is real. Okay. Tasha said thank you. All right. So this is what we want to talk to you today. Well, first of all, I'm gonna put this out here and we're gonna say it again. We announced last month that we're only doing 2 of these consistently. So November and also in December. I'm getting ready to get to the topic, but I just want to encourage you to let you all know that people are still speaking about the grief and loss show that happened. Was that last month? And even though some days we're just like, is this making an impact? Well, maybe not, y'all. I think that sometimes we are making an impact, and I appreciate that. Tasha says she's going to cash at me. Yeah, Gilliam Vocals. I'm just kidding, but that is my name, but not for this. Okay. And so I just want to encourage you all to keep going. We are still going. The Stigma Breakers Collective is not breaking up, y'all. I'm not letting them go. Anyway, even if they wanted to leave me, I've already told him. I hope Frank knows that Ashley is my sis for life, and I'm gonna need her in my life, actually doing work with me. So, I think we're cool. Hopefully he knows. If he doesn't, please relay that message, Ashley. And Danya already knows, and she go ahead and get married too. Then you just gotta tell your boo that I gotta still work with my girls. So it's just y'all stuck with me. So I'm sorry. It's all. It is what it is. But I say that to say, in the process of this, I have decided to finally start my podcast. And so some of the shows that we've done on here are going to be on the podcast, which is on Spotify, Lisa Gilliam on Spotify, my regular, not my artist playlist. But I'm going to try to work that out, because I feel like if I have a verified artist page, which I do, then I feel like they should put it on there and not my personal one. Or on anchor.fm. So you can hear some of our previous shows. Trigger warning, the first one is about suicide. We realize that in this season, some people are having some difficulties. And so we want to kind of remind you of some things that we talked about in the show. And then next month, we will actually run, or I'll run the actual grief and loss one again, because it had such a profound impact. And we understand that although we talked about that topic, it's still pressing, especially in the holidays. I still, 4 years later, don't really know how I'm celebrating Thanksgiving or Christmas. And that's sad to me because I love family, but the pandemic kind of messed up some things, you know? So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep that up there, Tasha, on screen. So today, Ashley actually, she's such a researcher. I love it, really. So she found out that November is known for a lot of different months, and one of them is Family Stories Month. And then also November, the NO, dealing with boundaries. And so we are going to kind of talk about both of those topics today. Did you all want to say something before I go over some of the things that I was thinking about? Anybody want to go next?
No, I just want to say congratulations to you, Lisa, for starting your podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah.
To talk, and then y'all don't even have to see my face, so I could be in my pajamas and I can still talk to y'all.
So make sure that you provide the Spotify link at the end.
I will. I'm while y'all are talking, I probably have to go to another link and then copy it over because it won't let me do like a set simple URL. So, but I will do that. Thank you. So
I just want to congratulate you myself, and then December I should be starting my radio show, so I will have all my information by then.
Yes,
a long time.
I'm happy to hear that.
And we're not going to do the other part called the book. We're not doing that.
Okay, well, disregard that last statement because we want Max on this show.
Me and Lisa's face would be like,
yeah, that's not true. Dog, I just reversed it. You didn't hear that part. Donya's gonna be putting her book out there. She just don't know it yet. So anyway, I digress. We're all trying to be authors like Ashley. Mine, hopefully, prayerfully, should be coming out next year. One of them, one of two. So we'll see. I need some coins, but working on that. We're working on that. So I was given this. I don't know if you all can. You may not be able to see. Hold on. What my family should know. I don't remember. It was at some point when I was counseling, and it's a guide for getting your affairs in order. I've shared before on here how I've had several people that I love die, right? And I learned that some people have their affairs in order and some people don't. That's just in my own personal life, but also even as a former counselor. And the last thing I think a loved one wants to deal with is, as they're actively grieving, is planning your funeral, finding out where the insurance policies are, finding out that you did not have an insurance policy. All of that is super, super, super important. Tracy said you all are doing great things. Thank you, Tracy. We are trying. And so we want to try to prepare you. Speaking of which, I'm bringing my play brother Chris Dunlap back on. We talked about similar things. But when Ashley and I were talking about like this particular topic, and Starling, Diane wasn't able to be at that one, we thought that our family ties, even though we talked about grief and loss last month, it was important to bring or bridge in the gap with the family ties with what you should know. Because some people don't even know where to start. So one of the things that it says in here is, I'm just going to read this. It says, although many of us are efficient in our daily lives and keep meticulous records in our professions, most of us leave inadequate and incomplete records of our economic and personal affairs when we die. When and how your benefits will be paid and how your estate will be settled are many questions that must be answered. This guide has been compiled to help you record the necessary facts for your family, your attorney, and your executor. The funny thing is, I don't even know where I got this from, but I've used it, so whoever did do this, please don't sue me because I don't know the name. But thank you for this information. So it first talks about how you should put down your personal information. Everything you need a social security card, a social security number. So your significant person should know where to find that if you don't want to actually write it down for them. And then if you don't have a significant other, or you're not married to anybody, or, have whatever, then you want to make sure the person that you're deemed to do this has access to that information and can quickly access it, not have to call somebody to call somebody to call somebody. The last thing you're thinking about in a crisis or emergency or in grief is how to get information. It also talks about, of course, your address and things like that. Like if the person doesn't live with you, you want to make sure that address, phone number, who your spouse is. If you secretly got married, then you might want to tell your person if the person is not the person that you got married to. You know what I'm saying? Because some people choose their best friends or their children to be the executors, etc. So you want to make sure that you do that.
Can I add something there?
Yes, absolutely.
Also, if your legal status changes, say it goes the opposite direction, you are legally separated, divorced from someone, you want to make sure that you update your information. If something happens to you, they're going to go by what's on your paperwork. And so, of course, we don't want anybody to get divorced or anything like that, but it's just a fact of life. And there have been situations I've known personally of situations where a person got remarried, they passed away, and the all of their things, all of their papers still said the first spouse's name, and that caused some issues. And so you just want to make sure that, as you're moving on in life, I'm going through this very, very, very tedious process now of changing my name on everything. And it's a pain, but I want to make sure that if anything happens to me, that my husband, who's now the person who I'm expecting to make decisions in the case that I cannot, is able to do that. And so just not just for if you're married or anything, if your status changes in any way, you want to make sure that you just make sure you keep it.
I'm going to say this also. If you decide that you want to get separated and you separated for 25 years and you die, it's going to go to that person. So I just want people to know that. So if you decide you don't want to be with that person anymore, get a divorce or change your information on it, because at the end of the day, it's going to go to that other person. And you've seen it happen.
Absolutely. Which, we can put this caveat out there: have a will and have a living will, advance directive, have a power of power of attorney.
That too, Jesus. Power of eternity. I love
it. Yes. It was so important because I've shared, story of my mom. My mom was a nurse. I promise you, she's the last person that I would think would not be able to make a decision. And she was not alert or coherent or able to make a decision. And I was not the POA. My sibling was, but I was still a part of that process. And because she already had it written down, it made things so much easier for us. You don't want your family to have to go through probate and trying to find out what they're going to actually, I get, what goes to this person, what goes to that person. Just go ahead and please just put it down in the will. Like if you love your family as much as you say you do, find the time to just sit down one day. And then, I didn't have things in order. I'm not even gonna lie, until my mom actually got sick. That's when I was like, oh no. And then especially by the time she died, I was like, oh no, I can't, I don't want my family to be burdened by this. And so because I was in between jobs, getting insurance, life insurance was not an easy task. But almost anybody can get term life, even if you can't get whole life or all the other insurances. You spend $25 a month on food. Spend $25 a month on your insurance. Like, even if you can't get 100,000 or 50,000, get 10, get 12, find out the average burial. The last time I checked was like close to 12. So at least have 20, you know what I mean? So that you can make sure your family doesn't have to worry about that part. Now your belongings, of course, 20,000 is not going to pay your house off. We get that, but at least they don't have to worry about the fact that you died, and now they're grieving or wondering or doing a GoFundMe to just so they can bury you. Did y'all want to say something before we moved on?
With all that being said, everything equals up, but I want to go back before you get to that point when you pass away. Right now with COVID, it's hard for most families to get into the hospital to even talk with the doctors. You should still, even your advanced directive or living will, where they have someone to contact. Reason why I'm saying, because I just dealt with that with my girlfriend. We could not contact the doctors, but she could barely talk. So we had to go through a lot just to get to that point. I'm gonna use something as simple as an armband. If you have any type of medical problems, I suggest you wear an armband with your name on it, what type of medical problems you have on it, and who's your emergency point of contact. You can do that. But it took a lot for us to get to a social worker, to even have a doctor walk into the room while I'm on the phone and she just nods her head to say, yes, it's okay to speak to her. So it's a lot of other things you need to have in play as well before you even get to that point, especially now with COVID.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And even prior to COVID, when my grandmother was in the hospital, she was in and out of consciousness. I remember my sibling, flew down, um, and she thought that that was our father and not her grandson. And the POA for her was a supposed family friend, but he didn't care for me, so I couldn't get any information. I was eventually removed from the list, her own granddaughter, but it was nothing I could do, about that. Denisha said, "Hey,
That's
so
not free.
hey, Denisha, thanks for joining us." Um, and so, just something to think about. But you are absolutely right. So like your personal information, make sure you have all of that. If you have children, you may want to have their social security numbers, etc. Also written down as well, their birth dates, those types of things. Sometimes even trying to find, there are times where you might have to get aid for the children, right? And so if the people don't know, everything's a number game. I hate to say it, but it is. And so funders need to know who they're actually giving the support to. Is the child really, if they're supposed to be 5 to 10, well, if they're 11, then unfortunately they're not able to get whatever that specific thing might be. And so you want to make sure you have all this information. And if you can even notarize it, that's even better. So that it's official that, this is really the truth. So, the next thing I would say that's important is your in case of emergency people to be notified. So you have your family, which is great. You have, all those people, but you also want to make sure that people know who to contact. When I looked at this for this show, I hadn't done it since 2018. Do you know how much has happened in my life? Because I did it after my mom died, right? But since my mom died, there's been a whole lot of things that have changed. And so maybe around your birthday, let that be your reminder. They say just when the clock goes back and forward, that's a good time to change the fire alarm. Well, maybe for us, when it comes to notifying or make sure we have who we need to contact, what do people need to know, maybe around our birthday would be a good time to signal out, a reminder for you so that you're putting in, because friendships change, people die, people get married and they're too busy, they don't want to be that person or contact anymore. And can I tell y'all, trying to find out who, or just erasing my mom from the emergency contact list was super hard for me. It felt like another loss, honestly. And thank God I have a sibling who, is willing to step up, and my sister-in-law would do it in his stead if something happens to him first. But I was just like, I really don't have a person anymore. You know what I mean? So, update your in case of emergency. Things happen all the time. Just make sure you're prepared. So all your emergency contacts. Also, insurance agent, your doctors, your banker. Like, do you know, bank, PO, I mean, the I can't even think of it right now, but you want a doing business as, you want a person who can do business in your stead if you're not able to. And it's going to usually take the POA, but you can also go into the bank and actually write this information down. You just have to ask your bank person to, who do I need to get so I can sign this information? So if something happens to me and I'm not able to speak, or if I die, that my family doesn't have to go through probate because they're just trying to get, I don't know, $60. I mean, hopefully y'all got more than 60. You're doing better in the situation than I have done. But it's just the point. I don't even care if it's 50 cents. It's 50 cents that you can leave for somebody else. That might be a soda. You know what I'm saying? You all get what I'm saying, like trying to make light of it. But that's important. So get that person in. It's got to be somebody that you can trust. The thing is, they are not able to touch your money if you are living, and able to, even if you are in a vegetative state, unless that's in your will. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, they can get my money if I'm, no, it's just so make sure that everything's in order if something does happen. As far as the insurance agent, it could be things in your home that you just need. Anything could happen. Maybe you got ill or got sick or died because of something that happened in your home, but you have a policy and the policy is still, enforceable. But if the person doesn't have the contact information for the insurance agent, they're not able to call an accountant if you have that, a broker, like for all of the 403s, 401ks, those type of things, certificates, all that information needs to be written down so that your family, is aware of that. Military records, that's a big one. If know somebody was, I think they were in the military in 1952, but I don't know what they served it. No, like get all that information. Can I tell y'all, because this is about, we're incorporating family stories. It wasn't until my mom, dad died that I wanted to know more about my grandfather, who died in 1968 before I was even born. So I've never met him, but I was like, Dad, I don't know anything about him. And I can't ask anybody because my grandmother was dead. I asked my aunt, but she didn't remember because it's been so long. Like those are questions I should have asked when I was younger and I didn't. And now, thanks to Facebook, actually, I've met a lot of my family on my dad's side, my grandfather's side rather. But what would it have been like if I knew this information for myself? Does certain disease run in my family? Were certain people sick? What type of employment, et cetera, did my family do, before it got to, just my grandfather, just all those things that might actually trigger something in the future. Credit card accounts, write them all down, all the information, due dates, whatever. Contact numbers for that. If you put in your phone, some phones have the fingerprint, things or whatever. So you may want to have a backup, or you might want to have a password that the person you trust. Even if you have a safety deposit box, you can put all this information in a safety deposit box. Just don't forget to update it in the safety deposit box. Because if you write it, and then remember, tell the person where the keys are. Y'all, I could not find the keys. I mean, how do you get into the box? And then it was like, I think a $250 charge or something like that if we couldn't find the second key. Now, thank God showed me where to find it. But who wants to pay extra money for a set of keys that somewhere in the house, you just don't know where they are? Auto insurance, if you have trailers or bikes, those types of insurance, your homeowner or renters policies, which I hope y'all have. Y'all should just have that anyway. Even if you're alive and well, just get your affairs in order. Please get your affairs in order. Denisha said, yes, I agree. Yes. Let's see. So health insurance, life insurance. This one I thought was interesting. Leaves and balances, like at your job. I don't think to talk to, I don't have a spouse or significant other, but why would I tell them, okay, I got 50 hours left to leave, because you know what? Some places pay for that. Out. Absolutely. They pay for that.
It gets paid out.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's important. Why yes, go on.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to quickly go back to life insurance because if your policy is under a certain period of time, that can impact when the insurance company pays out. Someone very close to me passed unexpectedly, and their insurance policy was less than 2 years old, and the insurance company waits because they want to do an investigation. It's something they put in place to prevent fraud. But if someone else hadn't stepped up to kind of front the money, it would have, really prolonged that process. So even thinking about, life insurance is something you want to do sooner rather than later, so that, God forbid, I don't think many of us are thinking about going anywhere anytime soon, but we also don't want to, some of those things we don't think about too. We kind of drag our feet, getting these insurance policies, never know if something can or will happen to us. And that's also another consideration. Just
absolutely
make sure I added that too.
No, absolutely. Even when so basically those are questions that you want to ask when you're purchasing. And also find out, some policies do pay. Term life, you get interest and you can borrow on these things, like even in the 403 or 401. Ask questions. Just ask all different types of questions. Denisha had one.
Yeah. To answer Donisha's question, yes, the person did end up getting reimbursed because, and because we are a mental health show, I think we also need to talk about the stigma, that's the very, very, very big stigma that's still around death and suicide. A lot of life insurance policies traditionally do not pay out if the person has died by suicide. So the person I was talking about died unexpectedly, but they still were able to pay out pay on that policy. But I think that is still kind of like the last bastion of big stigma when it comes to life insurance, certain medical conditions as well.
But I think they changed the suicide portion. They were working. Okay. I know they've
been working on it, but
right. I think it's still the same. Right. Not everyone.
Every insurance policy is not. Every insurance company doesn't have the same. So that's something that you need to ask about. Even if you have never experienced suicidal ideation or anything like that, you want to know what would prevent this company. What are the circumstances that would prevent this company specifically from paying out in the event that something happens to you? You just don't know which road life will take you down.
Absolutely.
Because you're talking about suicide. Another thing is some insurance, if you ride a motorcycle, if you it's certain stipulations in there that, like you said, you really need to pay attention to.
Yeah. And you have to have these hard conversations with your loved ones as well. Yeah. Because certain things they tick as high risk behaviors. And so either you're going to have to pay higher or they're not going to cover you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You are absolutely correct. So just something definitely to think of. And don't worry, I was definitely going to mention the death and suicide, and because that is something that a lot of people don't know. And I've actually heard people say, well, my family be taken care of if I decide to take my life. And these are not my words, these are their words. And they were not aware that was a stipulation in the contract. And a lot of us, honestly just don't read the fine print. We're like, oh, I'm good. But it's really important to read that information. And another thing is, if you do have policies in place, thank goodness, that can be used to pay for all of the funeral arrangements. You don't have to come out of pocket at all if things are already on the up and up as far as they're concerned, right? No fraud in that sense. And that was a lifesaver. But I don't know if y'all know this. This is kind of off topic, but on topic, because I think it's important to do the research of the cost too, because the cost can be mentally draining as well. It was going to be like $600 or $700 to run the information in the newspaper. Like 2 lines. That's a lot of money for 2 lines of words.
Section?
Yeah. Yep.
on the
And then it's like
weekend.
opening and closing in the cemetery to open the grave and
Oh, the
close.
opening and closing is like
1,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
5,000 because
You need a
my brother
inner
dies, it was
thingy.
terrible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but the inner thing that you put. I'm like, can the coffin just go in by itself?
But there are places, and thank God I've been having these conversations with my parents lately. And when I mean lately, like my brother's death really triggered us to really just make sure that we have our life, like our houses in order.
Yes.
But my parents have already started paying on the opening and
That's what I was
closing.
gonna say. And it's actually cheaper if
If you
you
Do it
pay
in
while
start
advance.
you're
paying on it
alive.
now. Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Exactly. They don't think about that. And so if you have a cemetery already picked out and you have a plot already picked out, you can go ahead and pay for your plot. You can pay for your casket, whatever casket type you choose, or how you want to be put in. Like my parents, I think they're going to be on top of each other. Not like that, but like they're
Yeah, no, that's how my parents are. Mhm.
yeah. And they are finishing up paying the opening and closing for each of them. That's literally when they pass. And God, I really don't even like my mind to go there.
Mhm.
But when they pass, I'm gonna be in a pretty good place because I'm the one that's responsible for making sure that everything is in order. And I already know. I know where all the paperwork is. I had to go up to Fort Lincoln with my parents a couple months ago because we gotta make sure the stuff is in order. And it's scary, but it's so necessary. I'm gonna be dealing with a lot. And that's why I respect Lisa. I don't know that pain, but I'm gonna be dealing with a lot when that day comes. And that's one less thing that's gonna be on my plate.
Yeah. Thanks, Tracy. We understand. Thank you, Ashley. Denisha says scary thoughts, but it's necessary. And it is. No one wants to, I didn't want to think of it. And I didn't even think it would happen to me. Like one day I was good. Like literally I talked to her the same day and then that's it. And it happens like I say this, it's the simplest statement. Death is so final. It's so crazy to me. I mean, I know that, but no, I know it. You know what I'm saying now? So absolutely right. And I know that no one wants to talk about, or a lot of people don't want to talk about these topics until it actually happens to them. But that's why we're trying to talk about it now so that you're aware and you can share this with someone else. It's not for the likes and the shares. We talk about that, whatever. But when you've had to go through these things, you don't want to you don't want anybody else to have to go through the same type of pain. If you're a caring person, and I am a caring person, I don't want anybody else to have to deal with the things that I didn't know to deal with. Another thing they talk about is retirement. Are you a federal employee? Are you a non-federal employee? Do what stands? Is there a death benefit? I know in the school system, this is another thing. Get your life insurance, but also get additional life insurance. So get it through your job if you can. But what if you leave your job today and didn't get any other insurance and you don't have anything and there's nothing there to bridge that gap? So always have both. I was going to say this about the will. My brother sells Legal Shield, and I'm so glad that I'm not happy, of course, of my mom's circumstances, but it was enough for me to be like, you are old enough to have your stuff together. And I told you I was struggling with jobs, but I still got term life. I actually got through AAA, believe it or not. But I still had something. And I had more the term life than I do have now of the whole life. And so I'm going to get to your question in 1 second, Denisha. And so you want to make sure that you purchase that. And just make sure that, like I said before, you're asking the questions that you need to ask and that what you're supposed to get when. So what happens if you retire from there? Do you still get the life insurance benefit? Is it gone because you retire? You know what I mean? Like I'm still coming to the terms grips with the pension. Like if I roll, then the little 2-3 years that I've been in, I don't get my money. Well, they take a mandatory 7%. Now that might not be a lot for you, but it's a lot for this girl. And so I want my money back. So it's like, if I leave, I got to find another job in the same state just so I can keep my pension. You know what I mean? So all of those things, but you want to make sure your loved ones knows that information. And the biggest thing, like I said, is your final wishes. Please take the time. My mom had stuff written down, but it wasn't all in the same place. And unfortunately, some of it I found after she died. Now, I'm an event planner. Some of y'all have come to my concerts and my events. I like stuff to flow. So I was still going to make sure. I mean, I don't know. This might sound crazy, but I thought it was a bomb funeral. Ashley, you were there. What did you think? I mean, a celebration.
Beautiful. No, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful service.
Thank you. So, I mean, my mom was a celebratory type of person. So, yeah, I was sad. I almost broke down. I was singing I Love to Praise Him. I specifically picked a happy song. She used to sing that song because if I picked Waymaker, which is what we play in the hospital every day, I would have been no good. Y'all would have probably had to drag me out there. It got to the point where I couldn't even listen to the song because it just reminded me of my mom. But I also know that Satan's job is to still kill and destroy. Just a little bit of word. And so he will use something positive and try to turn it into something negative. There's nothing wrong with that song. It just, for me, it was the connection because we played it often, but I could not have a boring, drab type of funeral for the person that smiled all the time, like even through her pain. She loved to dance. So I asked everybody to dance. I wanted to get her former choirs because she used to sing in choirs, but I wasn't able to get them to sing. But the choir that she was in at the church, they did, choir members sang. So write down the stuff. I tried to embody what I thought my mom wanted. And some of the songs I actually did find. Other ones I wasn't, able to find. She had written down this quote and God led me to her or whatever. And she was like, if you're reading this, that means there I go, dancing in heaven. And so it just makes a difference when you take the time to write down information and don't put that burden on your family. Please, again, please take the time to write down your wishes. Nobody knows what you want better than you. Did you all want to say something before we answer Denisha's question?
No, I mean, I think that you're absolutely correct. I know, I definitely know what my mom wishes. We're still trying to work on my dad. But with him having his triple bypass 2 years ago, unexpectedly, right after Greg died, I think it really just kind of put things into perspective. And so I definitely agree. Even the smallest things, if you have a favorite scripture, you have someone that you would like to officiate, those things changed. Like a pastor that I knew growing up, Pastor Kenneth Hilliard, my parents always said if they did a marriage vow renewal at 40, they would want him to officiate. Well, he passed away last December. Things change. And so, you want to make sure that you have those things together. But you want to make sure, like you said before, that you're regularly revisiting just to make sure things haven't changed so much that when you do pass, half of this, the wishes may not be able to be carried out because this person isn't here, that person isn't here, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And that's my godmother, Darlene, who said that her paperwork is together, which I appreciate.
We love that, Miss Darlene. Yes. And so thank you, Ashley. Danisha's question is, but do you trust getting life insurance through your employer if they offer it for free? I do. They give me I think it's 2 times my thing. Why not? I'm working there. It's free.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to take that, and then my family will have whatever I have as well. Yes. So I do. But talk to someone who, that's what I was going to say about Legal Shield. They give, if you join, they actually give you can get your will for free. So I'm already paying.
And I sell Legal Shield. So if anybody needs to know.
All right. So hit Danya up, or you can hit my brother up. Yes. Yes. So the Stratus Group is his. What's your? Well, Donnie's going to give you her information after this. So definitely hit people up. I trust people that I know. So it was easier for me to buy from my brother because this is before I knew Danya. But because I know that he wasn't going to be trying to just. Now I didn't want to sell it, But I did refer some people to him because I understand this topic is super important. And a lot of people, especially my African American brothers and sisters, I can't talk about everybody else, but I've had this conversation with people who are just like, yeah, what I need a will for? Because I needed someone to sign after I got the information before I could get the things notarized. And they have children and a home, but no will. And I'm like, I don't have a child or home, and I still have a will. Is that important? You know what I mean? So I would definitely get that. Definitely get that. It is definitely important. So
yeah, and you can always supplement, like we've been saying, you can supplement
absolutely.
getting your own personal, but you can never have too much life insurance, I believe. Because if you like me that has tons and tons of student loan debt, and that's another thing you might want to know your loved ones, their debt, because they're not forgiving debt like they might have at one time. They're transferring.
Yes, especially if you're married. They even tried to give us my mom's, but because she was able, but my brother who was POA had to go through some process to get stuff done. Oh, and speaking of taxes for the year they died, you're still liable for that stuff.
And these are the things we don't think about. And of course, they're not really talking about it because, but you need to think about those things. I try to have enough life insurance to at least cover most of my student loan debt. Now, y'all need to pray for Frank because I can't go nowhere no time soon. I got to be hit something like 200 because I'm so much student loan debt. But but that's real. Like he knew exactly how much debt I am in, right? And I need the same for him, right? And so it can be scary. And listen, y'all know, I'm you talking about Raina Barril here. It's very scary, but you need to make sure you have those conversations because the last thing you want to do is for someone to pass. You have no clue, and the federal government is looking at you like, "Well, ma'am, I mean, I'm sorry for your loss, but you're responsible for this couple $100,000."
Absolutely.
And that stigma, us being afraid to ask that question, that stigma will get you set up. I'm just going to say it like that. Point blank, period. It's going to set you up because you're afraid to speak up. That's it.
I remember I went to this relationship, I don't know, workshop or something, and this spouse, a husband, had paid off, I think $100,000 of student loan debt for his fiance. I don't even think they were married yet. They were about to get married. And then she went and like charged some other stuff. It wasn't 100,000, but it was a lot. First of all, God, could you send the man who could spend the 130 some thousand that I have in student loan debt? But or no, because I think she wanted, I think, a huge wedding or something. He's just like, I'm, paying off your debt first sets you up for what you all want to do in the future. So praise God, he even had that to do. That was a whole interesting situation. So yes, definitely had that question. We talked about whether you have prepaid burial plan or not. Your choice of cemetery, I'm not at a place right now where I can afford to pay that in advance, but I do have some insurance. It's not even a lot, I'm gonna tell you all. And I don't have any children, so if I do purchase condo or home, I'm not necessarily leaving that to anybody. It's not that important for me. The car can go too, you know what I'm saying? But my things, my belongings, the things that matter to me, like I would want those material things. Both Danya and Ashley know that I'm very sentimental about my grandmother and my mom's bedroom sets, and the thought of having to move and not take them stresses me out. Even though I know it's just a thing, but it's like my last real tangible item from both of them. And they don't make furniture like my grandmother's stuff. Like they don't make that anymore. And my mom had this cedar chest, like a Foot Locker type cedar chest. They don't make that type of stuff, that literally smells like cedar still. Danya, I don't know what were you doing? You're muted and all I see is her.
I'm sorry. No, when you said cedar chest, but then my son came in and
okay.
Me and I did like this.
I was like, I don't know if that's a good reaction or a bad reaction. And you all that on the podcast, like if you're listening, I'm sniffling because I'm getting over cold. So I apologize.
I am so sorry, everybody. No, he came over and he was asking me about my keys. So y'all talk about putting important papers and stuff in the right place. I don't know where my keys are from 10 o'clock this morning. So hey,
I hope you found your keys, though.
I did.
Oh, this is
You're insured, girl. Where you know you're insured. It's fine.
feel better, Denisha. So it asks about if you have military honors, veteran benefits, and veterans get different things that people like me who never served don't get. Who do you want to be your pallbearers? You know what I mean? Don't let people be fighting over that or carrying the flowers. You know what I mean? Like, you might not want Sister Sue to carry your flowers because right before something happened, you know what I'm saying? You just never know.
I hope she doesn't mind sharing, but like that's one thing my godmother has already told me. She said she doesn't want to repass. And I was just like, you don't want to repass? Like, me and her sister be like, you don't want to repass? And I don't want to repass. And that's fine. Like, listen.
Her wish.
If you tell me that you don't want to repass, honey, you ain't got to beg me to spend money. Okay.
I know a lot of people are like that. They don't want to have a repass.
And that's fine, but that's something that you want to have in writing so that if you feel strongly about it.
I'm sorry. A question about the repass. Is that for the person that passed on, or is that for the rest of the family to come together?
It's actually a celebration of the person that passed on. But for me, like people, I told you on the paparazzi. So I'll go to funerals and I still take picture of my family. And the last one I did, one of my cousins, it was the last time I saw him alive. He lives in South Carolina. And so I was so happy to see him, older cousin, took pictures of him. And he died some months later. And I had those pictures. So for me, it's a celebration, a time to be and spend with my family. But everybody doesn't feel that way.
But I understand that part with taking pictures of your family. Because a lot of times that's the sad part is the only time you might get to see a family member is at a funeral, which I hate to say it that way. But I just wonder if it was for the family to get together, to have that extra moment in time where everybody's not crying, where we're laughing and talking about old stories. So I like that part as far as having a repass.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I can only speak for my godmother. Like, my godmother, she's very much like the life of the party. She doesn't want people sitting around doing a bunch of crying. She'd much rather people get together and play cards.
See, that's me. And
and that honest to goodness, if I said, hey guys, let's have a card party after, she probably would not frown down on me. I would hope not.
So I want everybody to wear purple and red and release some white doves and keep it moving.
Yeah. Wait, Lisa, you muted. Lisa,
we can't hear you.
I said, y'all better celebrate me, okay? I want a whole theater production. Like,
like lean type.
It needs to be all the choirs. It needs to be the singers. It needs to be the dancers. It needs to be everything that, bring them all together. I want to hear how my life has affected you, because in heaven, I still want to celebrate, because all those times I was saying, I need to know I really did make a difference.
That's right. Well, I just want to know, my godmother put yes in the comments, so if you hear about us having a car party,
Auntie, I am with you. I'm with you. But no repass for Auntie.
No repass.
Oh my goodness. So the last one is trust and power of attorney. You talked about power of attorney, who your executor is, your legal guardianship documents, who's going to have those things, who has them in case that person dies before, you know what I'm saying? So have a second person that knows where they are, know where they're located. If you move the place, please tell the person so they're not trying to find stuff. I'm telling you, when things happen and it's sudden, you're not thinking about the practical. I know I didn't, and I'm pretty practical. I have details, and I told you I've, now some memory loss and memory retention issues. That was never me prior to my mom's death. So, Latasha says she's with me. She wants a whole production, yes, with intermissions in between, yes.
Like Elizabeth,
yes,
Aretha Franklin with the wardrobe change.
I mean, I don't need all that though. That was a little bit too long for me in the service. But yes, I wanted to be a production. All the good songs. Y'all better sing some of my original songs. Keep them Jones going. Like, that's another thing. I want to put that out there. People don't know. I don't have to be a Prince meaning like Prince the singer. My stuff still can live on. And my family can still get paid for my music, my speeches, my podcast, my anything I've done creatively, they can still, but they have to keep it up. So it doesn't end up going into that, I just lost the words, where you don't have to pay. It's not on demand. It's oh my gosh, I can't even think of it. But it's a way where you anybody can use it without permission. But if you keep your copyrights up and all that other stuff for your family, of course, and you're saying you don't have to worry about that. And a lot of people, because I'm an independent artist, that's not something that they would think about. But everywhere a regular artist is, I'm there too. So my family has to think about, going to Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music. Get my money. That goes to you then, because it's in my will. But get the money that you're supposed to get. Leave inheritance for your children's children, even if I don't have children.
Right. I had one more thing. So a lot of people think because you're listed as the beneficiary on a document, the beneficiary, you're only getting the money, but you got to also realize you're responsible for anything else comes behind that. A beneficiary can be a dog, a cat, a monkey. It can be whoever. But if you're not in charge of the estate, because I went through that, best friend, her family sitting up there. Oh, well, one cousin said, well, I'm the beneficiary, this, that, and other. Okay, so I told her, you're getting the money, and anything that comes after that, you're responsible for it. But at the end of the day, her dad is her next living kin. So he's going to make the arrangements. So they hadn't even invited her dad to come. I said, but no, I invited her dad to come. So he was the last person to make the arrangements. And I said, furthermore, on this piece of paper right here, who can make all the decisions, medical, financial, whatever, the name is Dhyana Renee Parker. I said, but guess who's not going to go there? I'm going to give it to her dad. He's going to be responsible. But people think because you're the beneficiary that you're the one that's supposed to make all the arrangements and this, that, and other. No, you're getting the money, and anything else that falls behind that.
You benefit.
Thank you.
You're not in the seat of power.
Right.
You benefit from whatever percentage they put on there, and the making decisions. That's something different.
There you go.
Right. And that actually is not necessarily legal. Anybody can make the decisions. I mean, as far after the person's dead, as far as like the actual plan of the funeral,
right,
whoever wants to come up with. But it's something that you said that's important. Just because you're listed as beneficiary doesn't mean that you were actually in the will. Put it together. Actually spell it out in the will that this is what you want. This is da-da-da. Like my mom was like, I want everything, you and your brother to split. Now she didn't say, Lisa, you get my purses, Daryl, you get da-da-da. Well, we know our status and so I'm sure my brother wasn't interested in purse. But what if he was, because he has a spouse? And maybe he want his spouse or his daughter to get it. So it's better if you can spell it out. Like we're sensible people, and we were able to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about. But that's not what everybody does. And so get your living will for real, your regular will, your living will, your advance directive, because if something happens, you're not able to make those decisions. You want somebody who's not going to be making decisions just because they're trying to benefit too. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you want. And so those are the things. I'm telling you, this information was so powerful for me because it made me think about things I never thought about before. And so I just have to do better with making sure I update it annually or when there's a change. So annually is good, but if there's a change, go ahead and update it. And I didn't think it was going to take us almost the whole hour to actually talk about that. But I do want to briefly talk about, I think that's a great segue into November. If you want to say why you thought this would be a good topic.
Well, I mean, so I don't know how many of you all on social media have seen people kind of capitalize on the no part of November as a way to remind ourselves that boundaries are good. No is a complete sentence. And you can say no to people. And a lot of us don't know how to say no. But boundaries are there to help us to really manage in the best way possible to protect ourselves and to protect others. Not necessarily to keep people out. They can, but boundaries are more for protection. And so just wanted to tie it back into kind of what we've been talking about. You want to make sure that you are saying no, not just to people, but to mindsets, to fear, right? I had a situation last night. Lisa happened to call me after I got a phone call from my doctor, and I was freaking out. And she's like, no, right now, we're going to, who are you? And I was like, Lisa, I can't even think right now. She's like, no, who are you? You know, like, who are you? And I'm like, I don't know. But
I don't think it was that dramatic, y'all, but okay.
No, it wasn't that dramatic. But she was like, no, like, who are you? Like, trying to get me to kind of come back to a point where I could efficiently and effectively say no to fear. I can say no to discouragement. I can say no to overthinking things in the moment and causing myself to go into an anxiety attack, which was definitely on the way, right? So, you know, there's so much that we could say about saying no, the power of saying no, the benefits of saying no. But I just want us to kind of think about saying no specifically to the fear of having these conversations, to the fear of thinking that if we talk about death, that death is around the corner. Listen, death is the only guaranteed thing in this life, honey. Once you come in, you gonna die. Absolutely. When you die, you know, some of it is up to you, but not a whole lot of it, right? So you want to make sure, we want to encourage you, since we only have a few minutes left, just want to encourage you, say no to fear.
Yes.
Say no to giving in to, you know, just this need to try to control death by not talking about it.
Yes.
My friend Donisha is on. She's experienced quite a bit of loss in the last couple of years, and I really appreciate her tuning in tonight.
Thank you, Donisha.
And so I just wanted to make sure that I shouted her out because she is one person that I know she still continues. She still keeps pushing. And I just wanted to make sure that I publicly encouraged her and thanked her for saying no to fear, because a lot of people try to really not talk about things to pretend like they aren't the way that they are. And so it really benefits us to be able to be in a position where we're saying no to fear, we're saying no to anxiety, we're saying no to just anything that would encroach upon our ability to live life.
Absolutely.
Because talking about death doesn't mean that we're not living life.
That's true.
It means that we're putting parameters in place so that when others go that are close to us and are important to us, we have a better chance of continuing to live.
Absolutely. And even saying
celebrate right there with Donisha. Yes. I know I just had an anxiety attack on Friday, and I've had a couple of them. So yes, Donisha, I'm cheering with y'all.
Yeah, her sister, Donisha's my oldest friend. We are 13 days apart. We were born 13 days apart, and we've known each other our whole lives. And we have the unfortunate shared experience of losing a sibling at young ages. She lost her sister earlier this summer at the age of 29, like a week before her 30th birthday. And you all know that I lost my brother 2 years ago at 36. And it is just like, you know, Lisa being in that club of losing parents is just, you don't even know what it's like to be in that club until you've been there. And so community is important. So I appreciate you, Danya, for giving that extra encouragement.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that it's okay to even say no to your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I can't hang with you today because I need this quiet time. No, I don't want to go to a certain place just because that's the way that you dealt with grief and loss or whatever. But I also want to say, so like I said, these are my sisters. I know when stuff is going on, whether they want to talk to me or not. One talked to me, the other one did not. That's all I'm saying. However, I do want to encourage you all, like you just said, community. So I mentioned on here before, I'm restorative approaches site coordinator at my school, and today I was drained before. Like I don't know where all the energy came because I was like, so yeah, God is real. Yes, God is real. And so he, it was draining because I ended up sharing some stuff I didn't mean to. And these are like practice circles, but restorative approaches is so, or restorative practice, restorative justice, so, so powerful. And it really is near and dear to my heart because it's a way of being able to connect with others in community. You know what I mean? Being, finding likenesses. And the one thing I want you all to know, we talked about family ties. We talked about saying no. You should not be going through whatever it is by yourself. So sometimes you got to tell yourself, no, I'm not going to hide in the midst of whatever it is. And I'm going to actually open up my mouth and I'm going to let somebody know that I'm going through the other no, KNOW, that I'm going through whatever it is, because I've had my moments too. But sometimes when we hide, that's when the other person actually needed you the most. Because there were some times where I've reached out and I needed the person, but they weren't there or available for me. And those are the times when I had those thoughts, or when I was having my attacks or my moments. And if we had just talked about it, we would have been able to do exactly what we did with Ashley. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't discounting her feelings. They were important. That's not it at all.
No,
but
she absolutely wasn't.
Thank you. She wasn't by herself though. I just want her to know, like, really, who are you? So ask yourself today, who are you? If you believe in Jesus Christ, you're more than a conqueror. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in him, he says, I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. You know what I mean? That joy comes in the morning. And so even if today was bad for you, if he gives you another day of life, he says brand new mercies. Every single day you get brand new mercies. So, Danisha, I am sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for anybody on here that's experienced grief. You're right. It can be so ugly. It's horrible. And I don't like it. I'm not even gonna lie. But I don't know if you shared the video with her, Ashley, but if you didn't.
No, this is my friend that I told you had called me.
Yes, okay, got it. Yes. So thank you for watching it. I would just say, share. We do this and we have a mental health spin because we want people to understand the connection. Like, even though we were talking about things you should do, having this in order actually will probably alleviate some of the stress and the mental anguish that you might go through, you know what I'm saying, because you don't have your stuff in order. Even the Bible talks about write down vision, make it plain. This is part of that. What's the vision for your family? What's the vision for your life? What do you want the people that you say you love? Do you love them enough to have your stuff in order, or do you not love them enough to, like, not be lazy enough? I'm gonna call a spade to do what you need to do. So she said the video was on point. Praise the Lord. That's all I can say for that one. But GriefShare, again, griefshare.org is a phenomenal resource. If you need help, Danya said Legal Shield, she sells that. Danya, go ahead and give your information, please, your contact information.
For my Legal Shield, my email address is Dhyana, Dhyana Parker, Parker @gmail.com. Or you can just find me on Instagram or Facebook. My phone number is 240-601-2968. The Rock for Life is on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find it under the Rock for Life Foundation.
If you type that, you should be able to now type it in the comments since you accepted the thing. But if you didn't,
I accepted, but I don't see where I can still.
Okay, so then put it in the banner, and I'll copy it over.
What's the banner?
I'm sorry. Put it in the private chat, and I'll copy it. You would think this is our very first video, y'all.
Right,
it's over a year, but that's okay. Ashley, please tell us how we can find you, ma'am.
Mastering My Matters LLC. We just got ourselves together. We're getting our business together. Praise the Lord. I don't want nobody to have to sue me out here in these streets. MasteringMyMattersNow.org is our website. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Mastering My Matters. And if you want to follow me personally on Instagram, it's Ash Lockley.
Thank you. And if you put that in the private chat too, I will put y'all's last because I copied the other link. And if I copy it, I'm gonna lose the link. So y'all, I still sell doTERRA. And if you need essential oils, those things had me all the way together. Like when I was sick, I had peppermint and lemon and something else. My friend Tracy was like, put these three in there and just breathe. Like I have a humidifier that you can put essential oils in. So if you want to do that, and then if you want to follow me, LisaLGilliam.com. It has all of my contact links, but I'm One Singing Lady, the number one singing lady on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and then spelled out One Singing Lady, ONESING on YouTube, which is the same place where you all looked at today. Just 1 second. So this is the Anchor FM. Won't do it link. And then Spotify, Pandora, all of those places you can find my music or purchase my music. And let me copy theirs over. My goodness, could you put it in one, ma'am? She got me.
Hey,
they got me copying like 5 different things, y'all, different chats. So what I'm going to do is this information on your website too.
Yep.
I know yours, Ashley, but I'm talking about Danya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So then I'm going to copy their websites, and then please go to their websites and find all their information. Find them on. I was trying to find Ashley the other day, and I was like, okay, I know her last name. She changed it on me, and I didn't know what the new thing was, and so I was trying to find it. Also on TikTok, we're on TikTok too. Danya, you on TikTok?
No, I guess I need to be, huh?
Go ahead. Yes, join the party.
I was trying to get better with my TikTok.
I know, but I couldn't find your name.
Did y'all see my TikTok from earlier?
I saw it, but what's your name on there? I can't.
Oh, it's still A Burton 214.
Okay, see, I can't keep up. Y'all already know what's going on in here. So
all right. I'm gonna change it.
No, it's fine. I just couldn't find you because I was gonna tag you in the video, but I couldn't do it. So we want to say thank you so much for watching and listening to us. Please like, share, and subscribe to our pages. You can find them, like I said, on the website, and share this video if you felt that it was helpful information or you think that somebody you know may actually get help for this. And then please, follow the podcast. I'm going to have them on. They don't know it, but they'll be on the podcast. And they are still on because some of our shows from there are going to be on there at first. But, I'm going to make sure that they do it. Like I can tell them what to do, but I can't. But I'm going to try, y'all. And we'll, books and things, get Ashley's book. And Danya's book is coming out. She just doesn't know it yet. And, mine, hopefully, her face will be out next year. And her radio show is coming. So we are going to be doing things. We're still doing our May and September event. So the Stigma Breakers Collective for that. If you want us to come speak to anybody, you can go to one of our websites and fill out the booking form. And Starling Rivers, my booking agent, she actually books for us. So we want to come and share our stories and help other people. We love speaking live, and we can actually kind of go out a little bit now, which is great because COVID was rough.
The Rock for Life is hosting and Mastering Mind Matters and the Stigma Breakers Collective. We are co-sponsors of the free turkey giveaway on the 20th.
Yes, Danya.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for reminding us.
From 12 to 3 at Iverson Mall in PG County, Maryland.
Lower level inside the building.
Yeah,
where Santa Claus used to be.
It will last as long as supplies last, so make sure you get there early. All right, that's it.
Thank you. All right, I love y'all. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one.
All right, love y'all.
All right, bye.
Bye.